Most Christians don't really have faith in their book or in their God. And I'll explain why. Earlier today, me and Angelina was having a conversation while we was going to Southport, and we noticed a lot of the area there could be flooded very easily. And we was talking about the different storms that have come and just completely wiped out areas. And in that conversation, we talked about those people who are Christian and how they would refuse to leave their homes because they would say, no, I'm just going to pray. I'm just going to pray about it. I'm not going to leave my home. I'm just going to pray about it, believing that their prayer is enough for them to be able to sustain their life there. And I thought about the fact that prayer without works is dead. And I also thought about when Jesus said, if you had the faith of a mustard seed, then you will be able to tell the mountain to move and the mountain will move. Or if two or three of you come together in agreement and you tell the mountain to move, then the mountain will move. This rarely happens. Rarely, rarely happens that a Christian has enough faith, have the faith of a mustard seed. See, many Christians have taken that message that pastors have given them and saying that, well, all you need is the faith of a mustard seed, that you have greater faith than that. So you could tell the mountain to move and the mountain will move. But the trueness of that teaching is that Christians don't have the faith of a mustard seed. That Jesus is actually trying to tell you, you ain't even got that much faith. And one of the examples that we was talking about and thinking of is how many Christians were praying during Hurricane Andrew. I remember Andrew. She barely remembers it. How many Christians were praying during Katrina? How many Christians were praying through the majority of storms that have happened and have lost their lives and lost their homes and everything else? How many Christians have prayed through someone's illness or sickness and that person winds up dying? How many Christians have prayed for financial relief or prayed for this, that, and the third? Now, of course, I'm going to get those Christians who are going to come over here and say, well, I prayed and God answered my prayer, so I got the faith of a mustard seed. No, you just don't understand the cause and effect of what happened. But many of you don't have it because you don't then do the work that's necessary in order for you to actually demonstrate that you have that faith. And this is one of my problems, one of my many problems with Christians who try to say that they believe and they adhere to this book, because they don't. They do not even slightly. Do you know how many times when I was a personal trainer, I had Christians who would come into my gym and they say, I've been praying and praying for God to just help me lose this weight, and I just haven't been able to lose this weight, and blah, 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 blah. And then I would start to teach them that no, it is through knowledge and works that would demonstrate whether or not you have enough faith. See, even as a trainer, I didn't knock people down because of their faith when they would come looking for my services, because that wasn't what they were there for. They were there for my services, not for my philosophies. So I would then utilize their teachings, their beliefs, to to get them to do the actual work that is required. If a person wanted to be healthy, then calories in minus calories out equals your weight, and the type of calories that you put in your body equals your health. So I would demonstrate to them how, if they put in the work, that then their faith would help them to sustain the work. And so when a storm is coming, and in today's world, when we have all the technological advances to let us know when these hurricanes are coming and where they're going to go and their destructive force, and a person just says, I'm going to pray, I'm going to pray, I'm going to pray, I'm going to pray, and they stay in their homes and then they die, they die, they die, they die, they die, they die. The math of faith just not mathing at that point. What they have actually demonstrated is that they don't have true faith and true understanding of their book. Because if they did, then they will recognize that your God has given you the necessary information for you to be able to utilize your faith to get the hell out. How many people died in Katrina because they were sitting around praying that God would deliver them from this hurricane? How many people have died in multiple other situations, believing that their God would just miraculously save them, and they didn't allow any other types of interventions of working knowledge to which they had? What did that movie, The Book of Clarence, say? Knowledge is more powerful than belief, because it is. When you know that there's a hurricane coming, why would you stay? When you know that eating all this fried foods and all this meat and not exercising and living a life sitting on your assets is going to cause you to die early or have health complications, why would you still do it? Where is your faith? Because your works are demonstrating that you do not have faith. When I get so many Christians who are just suffering financially, I always question, do you truly have faith? Because you have the knowledge. Your book says, in all thy getting, get knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. How many of you know that Christians are going to church, praying for financial relief, yet they continue to spend more money than they make? They continue to buy the shoes that they know they should not be buying and can't afford. They get the house. Oh, the housing crash. Do you know how many Christians were buying those houses that were well above what they can afford? And then when the LIBOR changed and those loans got converted from interest only into regular mortgages, they lost their homes because they believed that God had given them this house finally. But they had the working knowledge to know that they were not in a position to afford that house. When you had those uh, income statement loans that they were taking, they knew that they were lying about their income, and yet, oh, I got me a $500,000 house, a $700,000 house. That electric bill was kicking their ass. And when that loan converted over to a regular mortgage, they lost those houses. Oh, God was just taking me through a season. No, no. You actually lack faith because you refuse to gain the knowledge or utilize the knowledge because you have it to be able to know what decisions you should make to go left or to go right. This is why following the Hermetics, understanding the Hermetics, not following, understanding the Hermetics is far greater, because the Hermetics and Gnosticism and Taoism is based on gaining knowledge and applying that knowledge to be able to utilize it in such a way that you gain wisdom in how to live your life. There are plenty of times I could have gotten a house that was 500,000, 700,000, but instead I got like a $200,000-300,000 house, something that was affordable, and with a regular mortgage that was below 40% of what I actually made. There were plenty of times when I could have gotten the new cars to park in front of the new house and buy all the clothes, but then I'm living paycheck to paycheck. And what is the benefit of that? As soon as one emergency happens, you're wiped out. And if the emergency is big enough, you're completely wiped out. I'm 52. I don't want to take the time to recover right now. Even this move to North Carolina was a strategic move in order to facilitate a greater life in my 60s and 70s by being able to make certain investments at this time frame that would be beneficial to me in my 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I plan to go to 150, but to lend for a greater life during all that time, to ensure that my health is taken care of at any time frame of my life, no matter what happens, to make sure that I'm not living in a impoverished level when I'm in my 80s and 90s eating cat food and dog food. The knowledge is here for you. The knowledge is there for you. When you understand the law of cause and effect, then you can recognize how you should engineer your life in order so that you can be healthy, so that you can be financially healthy, and that you can be morally and mentally healthy. How many of you are doing math problems instead of stop using your phone all the time? Do the math problems yourself. Stop listening to videos all the time, even though that's contradictory to what I want you to do. But read books. Keep your mind keen. Don't let it go into a state where it's not being used, because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Get your ass up and be active in life, and go and exercise, go for walks, go to the beach, go to the mountains. Keep moving, because the moment you stop moving, the moment you are allowing your body to become dead. So understanding that for every cause there is an effect, for every effect there is a cause, and that your will is the one that determines it, is the greater thing that you can learn in life, and the greater thing that you can use. I don't have to have faith in my finances. I have knowledge of my finances. I don't have to have faith in my health. I have knowledge in my health. Knowledge is greater than belief. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.